Surgical robots might not be as safe as doctors thought. New reports found that a variety of robot malfunctions led to 140 deaths in the last 14 years. We're back now with John Broad and Scott Kurnit. So patients have been burnt, even little pieces of the robots or the instruments have fallen into people's bodies. But we have to point out, this is 13 years, 144 people. What's the perspective on this?
I don't want to belittle death or injury at all.
Of course not.
But so, as you said,
are you running for office?
I am number 17.
He has the right gingham shirt on to do that.
This was a study over 14 years. It's a 1.4% rate of issue. And I think what this report doesn't say is it doesn't compare that to non-robotic injuries and deaths.
Right.
But I do think the good news is the FDA has only recently mandated that we start reporting this, which is critical, right? Without benchmarks, you can't. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it, and certainly
you can't make improvements.
We need to manage this and measure this. It's such an important, vehicle.
But Scott, would you rather have a robotics surgeon or a surgeon who's controlling a robot, or would you rather have a human surgeon?
I think robots are making better cars. I think that other than the 13 rear-end crashes for the Google self-driving car, which is probably good for surgeons because they have to fix that whiplash.
If there was a real
robots and as I've seen this, the robotic surgery for kind of standard stuff makes sense. Robotic surgery for the tougher stuff, because every human's a little bit different, it makes sense. So I'm binging. I shouldn't even say it, but I'm binging Grey's Anatomy 10 years late, and I just finished the episode where they pull the surgical rag out of someone's body.
That's right, and that's really the nightmare scenario.
So I think humans should probably watch over robots, so if something falls in, they can get it out. But robots are going to ultimately be more precise than humans, and they didn't go out drinking last night. And
they're not overworked in so many cases in so many hospitals.
I mean, computing in robots, once you get the bugs out, are a pretty good idea.
Well, speaking of robots and artificial intelligence, we want to talk about a new report that says partnership between NASA and private space companies, entrepreneurs, and startups could get us back to the moon by 2021 and eventually get us to Mars for the fraction of a price. Okay, so the idea here from this $100 million study is to use the moon as a fueling station to get to Mars. What do you think?
That makes sense to me. The issue, as I understand it, is resupply. And if we have to carry a ton of fuel up to Mars, it's incredibly prohibitive and expensive. So to use the moon as a gas station makes sense. I like this idea of partnership, whether it's in the private sector with SpaceX.
It could be a tenth of the cost.
A tenth of the cost. And we're also talking about potentially partnering with international markets, whether it's Japan or Europe. It makes sense to me.
This could be good business, Scott, for both the ULA and
so I think less important for the moon, whether the moon's used for something or Pluto or whatever we do. I think that private enterprise works better than government for just about anything. Having competition works better. So NASA basically being a contractor out to private enterprise, that makes a lot of sense and will do more. Whether getting back to the moon for more than it being a filling station or maybe finding finally those obelisks from 2001 is a good idea. But I think we've figured out that the moon's not all that great for things, but as a way station
President Obama would agree with you. He doesn't want to send people to the moon anymore, but he wants potentially humans on Mars in the 2030s. So we will keep our eye on this story. I love this space story.
We'll also have a new president in 2017, and he or she may have a different view.
Who knows what will happen? We have so many candidates
the moon may not be great, but the moon is a jumping off place to discover the rest of the universe.
Yes.
And find, because we now see $100 million going to Stanford to study alien life. And space,
I love it.
Space is a big deal. We're pretty screwed up here on Earth. It's got to be better out there.
What if we are the Martians? Food for thought.